In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your wheel cylinder on your Toyota Camry. It's located behind your rear drum. Before doing any sort of hydraulics for the brakes on your vehicle, it's a good idea to press your brake pedal down to the floor and then leave it there with a pry bar or some pole of some sort to hold it down. That'll make sure that you don't lose all your brake fluid, and it also helps when you're doing a gravity bleed so you don't have air in the system. Using a pry bar, remove your hubcap. You want to get right underneath and just work your way around. Using a 21mm socket, I'm going to remove our lug nuts. Remove your wheel. You might have to give it a good whack. I'd put a lug nut back on if the wheel isn't coming off. Using a rubber mallet. Give it a whack right here. It should loosen up. Dead blow hammers are the best for that. This is what I was using. You can remove your last lug nut. Remove your wheel. We're going to start by taking off this little rubber cover. To do that, you're going to use a flathead screwdriver. It's a little guy. Pull that off. And you can move this around and see where that little star is for the adjuster. If your brake drum comes off, don't worry about it. But if it doesn't, you're going to want to use a long flathead screwdriver. And if you look inside here, there's a lever that you got to push back away from the wheel. And then you're going to back off that star by using this. So you put that in there and line it up with the wheel for the adjuster. If you hear it click like that, you're tightening. You want to go the other way. So when you go the other way, you're going to push this. You may need a smaller screwdriver like me, so you can fit both in. You're going to push back that lever. So you're going to push that wheel down, but to do that, you got to push that lever away from the wheel because it locks that wheel in place. My drum is already loose. I'll show you when I take it off. Take off your drum. Also, side note, if your drum is really stuck and it's not the shoes holding it there, there's two spots here. You can find a couple of bolts and put them in there and then slowly tighten them in, and that'll push that rust ring. It'll push the drum off for you. So this is the view without the drum. You'd be coming through this hole, and to tighten it, this is when you adjust the drums tighter. So to tighten it, you should hear that click. What's locking it is that lever, and to unlock it, you just push it away, and then you can spin the wheel the other way. And that shortens your adjuster so these shoes go in, and then you can take your drum off. Using a 10mm line wrench, we're going to loosen up this fitting back here on our wheel cylinder. We had to replace our line since ours was no good. Now I'm using a regular wrench. After you get it loose, you can just use a regular wrench. Once you get the fitting out, I'm going to pull that brake line a little bit away. And now we're going to go for our 2 bolts in the back. Now we're going to take out these 2 bolts that are holding the wheel cylinder to the backing on the drum brakes. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to take out these 2 bolts. Loosen up the other one before I take that out completely. My car's kind of rusty in the back. Take out your bolts. And now we're ready to take the cylinder out. Now that we have our bolts out in the back, we're going to pry away and remove our wheel cylinder. We're going to sneak it out of there so we don't have to undo any springs. Just going to pry it out. Like that. Now we're going to clean everything up. Make sure there's no debris in that line. And now we're going to install our new one. To get the new wheel cylinder in, you're going to want to adjust your adjuster out, and that'll push the drums, that'll push these 2 shoes out, so it's easier to install. Once you separate it out a little bit, check how close you are to lining it up. And slide it in. Make sure your wheel cylinder is in the hole correctly, like that, and it's flush with this backing plate. Another thing to check is to make sure that your shoes are seated properly in the slots. Now let's install our line and our 2 bolts. So first I'm going to install my line, or at least get it started, and then I'll do my bolts. It's good to have a little wiggle to get a line started. I'm not going to tighten it down completely, and I'm going to start my 2 bolts. You're going to want to snug those up. Get them about wrist tight. Again, about wrist tight. And now we're going to tighten up our line and the wheel cylinder. Now let's tighten the line down. Make sure that line's pushed all the way in before tightening the fitting. Really snug it up. And now we are going to back off our wheel since we expanded it. To do that, you're going to push in on this lever in the back and push the wheel towards the ground if you're on your driver's side. And you should see the threads disappear. You're going to need that all the way down to put the drum on. I'm using a flathead screwdriver. That should be good. And now let's put our drum on. Now we're going to put our drum on. Make sure that make sure the hole for peeking into that wheel is lined up properly. Now we're going to line it up, the hole, so you can see the wheel for the adjuster. And we're going to adjust the shoes so they slightly touch the drum. So to do that, you're going to find your wheel. So slide a flathead screwdriver in there or something like it. And you want to spin it and make sure that it has a little bit of drag to it. Like a little resistance. I would go one click at a time if your shoes are in good shape and have some meat on them. That feels good to me. So you don't want it to go spinning freely, you want a little bit of a drag. Now you can place your rubber back on and just push it in. Now we're going to do a gravity bleed. Remove your pry bar. And I usually give it a few pumps. Using an 8mm wrench, I'm going to open up our bleeder. And wait for some brake fluid to come out. Now it looks like we have a pretty steady drip. I'm not seeing any air bubbles. So I'm going to tighten this down. And we're going to clean the area with some brake parts cleaner. Let that drip dry. And at this point, you want to check your master cylinder and top it off to the max level. Put the cover back on, and then get in your vehicle and pump up your brake. Make sure the pedal feels nice and hard. If it feels squishy, you're going to have to do the entire brake bleed procedure. Put your wheel on. Start your lug nuts. Tapered side in. We're going to tighten these in a star-like pattern. Position this one low so you can walk the rim on. Using a 21 millimeter socket, we're going to torque our lug nuts to 76 foot-pounds. I'm going to put our hubcap back on. Line up your valve stem. Get it secured in there first. Get a rubber mallet, and you're just going to tap it around. Don't whack it too hard, you're going to break it. To begin, we're going to remove our fluid from our master cylinder. I'm putting a rag here so nothing drips on the electrical stuff. Make sure you wipe off your cap, remove any debris that may be there, and lift off your cap. Set it aside. If there's a strainer, you're going to want to remove that. I'm going to pick it up and then spin it to take it out. Spin it counterclockwise, and I'm going to leave that right in there. You can put your siphon in the master and suction out the fluids. I have a drip pan next to me to catch all the fluid. You don't want to have this drip on anything. Keep doing this till it's empty, or as empty as you can get it. Fill up your brake fluid to the max. There's a little line right here, it says max. You can use a funnel if you feel like you need to. To bleed the brakes on this Toyota Camry, you're going to start with the wheel that's farthest from the master cylinder. That would be your right rear. From there, you're going to go to your front left. Then you're going to check your fluid and top it off. From there, you're going to go back to the rear on the left side. And then from there, you're going to go to the front right. And then you're going to top off your fluid again to the max, and you should be good to go. Here we are at the right rear wheel. Behind the drum, there's going to be a bleeder screw. You're going to use an 8 millimeter wrench and you're gonna have somebody in the car to help bleed the brakes. I'm gonna ask them to pump the brake up, and then they're gonna hold it, and then he's gonna tell me that he's holding it, and I'm gonna open up the bleeder. I'm gonna catch the fluid with this, and we're gonna look for air bubbles as we do this. We're gonna do it several times, and if there's air bubbles, we have to keep bleeding the brake. Pump it up. Now I'm gonna open the bleeder up. He's holding it. It's to the floor, so I'm gonna close the bleeder down. And then I'm gonna ask him to pump it up. He's holding. Open up the bleeder to the floor. I'm gonna close it. Pump it up. He's holding. Now we're going to go to the front left after we clean this up. Clean the area using some brake clean. And put your bleeder screw cap back on if you have one. Remove your bleeder screw cap if you have one. Set it aside. Ask your helper to pump it up. He's holding. I'm going to put my hose on so I can catch the fluid. And as we're watching this, we're looking for air bubbles, and if there's air bubbles, we have to keep bleeding the brake. So you're holding. I'm opening the bleeder. Just to the floor. I'm closing it down. You can pump it up. He's holding. I'm opening the bleeder. To the floor, so there's an air bubble right there. We're going to do probably one more. Pump it up, please. He's holding. What's to the floor? I still see air, so I'm going to do another one. Pump it up. I'm going to close it down. At this point, we're midway through, so we're going to check our master cylinder. I'll meet you up there, and we're going to top it off. After we clean our area and put our cap back on. Make sure your cap is clean, remove it, and let's top it off. Make sure you fill it up to max. There's a line on the side of the master cylinder to tell you where that is. After you're done, put your cap back on, and you can continue on to your left rear and then your front right. Now that you're done doing your brake bleed and you've done those other two wheels, you're going to top off your fluid.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.